It's powerful black guys making decisions and ticking people off. And to that I say, it's certainly part of it. And if you deny it, go read Dan Gilbert's letter. It's really so lowbrow. And this is an educated, successful guy. Right. So I agree largely with what JJ Redick's saying. And I'm not somebody that jumps to those kind of conclusions all the time. But your thoughts on it?
Funny story about the letter you bring up, Colin, Dan Gilbert's letter. We were both at the old network at this time. The next day, I was on our flagship show. And for some reason, we were taping. 99% of the time I was on there, it was live. But for this day, we were pre-taping. And they brought up the letter. And I said, Dan Gilbert talked about LeBron James in that letter like he was a runaway slave. And I fully believe that I had said it on radio and said it later on radio. But when I said it on this show, the producer, who was an African-American, went, Chris, no, you can't say that. Stop the tape. Stop the tape. Like, no, can you say it with a different word without saying, so we retaped it. I gave the same sentiment, but I didn't use that phrase. But yes, that's what it was. He talked about LeBron James like he owned LeBron. Like LeBron didn't have the right as a human being to make a decision that he wanted to make a free decision. LeBron played out his contract. He tried to win a championship there. He did everything he was supposed to do contractually. And then when he made his own choice to leave, Dan Gilbert talked about him like he owned him. And that was racist. Now, it's interesting, Colin, because we all remember watching the video in Cleveland at the bars, right?
Yeah.
When LeBron makes his decision. Cleveland is a city that is over 50% black. And all I saw was white people at the bars. I don't know what bars they went. It was like, what is this, Idaho or is this Cleveland? And so most of the people, the bars were 99% white, and they were burning jerseys. They were calling LeBron out of his name. And I do think on a subconscious level, there was some racism there. But let's remember, in East Cleveland, there were black people burning LeBron's jersey.
Yeah.
So a lot of it was, some of it was racism, and some of it was just sports. Like, can't believe this guy left us. This is his hometown team. And also you joined two of the other best players in the league to form a super team.
Yeah.
Kevin Durant was not strictly, but mainly the fact that he went to join a 73-win team that had beaten him in the playoffs.
Yeah, so that was my feeling. Is it's a component to it. If you deny it, read the Dan Gilbert letter. But I do think we were more annoyed with Kevin Durant. We're like, bruh, come on, it's like an all-star team. Give me a break. I don't even think we were mad at Kevin for leaving. I think we were mad at Kevin for where he landed. I think a lot of people were like, no, we get the Westbrook thing. Like we were annoyed at Kevin that he had to go to that team. With that, to me, that now LeBron, I don't doubt it, but KD is. Now I want to shift to this though. LeBron is a trailblazer, and when they write the book on LeBron, I've always said his game is 1, his body is 2. Maybe chapter 3 or 2 is, do we understand what he's done in mobility? Now, if you don't leave, we're like, are you nuts? I think this is a huge component to the legacy of LeBron James.
Well, I do think it's going to be interesting because, LeBron's I think he's certainly on the path to do a ton of stuff off the court. And I think there's some, as great as he is as a player and arguably the greatest of all time, I think there's a legitimate question to will he do so much off the court after basketball that does he even equal off the court what he did on the court or perhaps even surpass it. So we'll have to wait and see on that. But where I disagree with you, Colin, is that I don't think players who don't leave should be shamed or criticized. Like if Giannis decides, you know what, I want to stay in Milwaukee. I'm happy here. I want to lead this team to a championship. He shouldn't be criticized. I would respect that loyalty. And let's not forget, Russell Westbrook did that. Russell Westbrook said, look, I'm happy here in Oklahoma. I want us to win a championship here. And he was widely praised for it. Allen Iverson always said, I want to stay in Philadelphia. Yes, I want to win a championship. I'm going to give everything I have to do that. But if I don't, then I can live with that. I just want to be in Philadelphia. So I'm not going to look down on players that don't take the LeBron or the KD or the Anthony Davis route and decide to try to go at it where they're at.
But let me argue this. Let me give you 3 loyalty guys. Bradley Beal's been loyal. He's now trapped. Westbrook was loyal. They eventually traded him. Damian Lillard's loyal, and he's increasingly, as much as I love him, the Blazers are not really relevant for a championship. So if I'm a player and I look at what happened to loyal guys, and then I look at LeBron left, Kawhi left, Kevin Durant left, I'm like, to me, the guys that carve out their space are winning all the titles and getting all the endorsements, are they not?
I'll give you another example that you could use too. Kevin Garnett.
Oh, yeah.
Remember, Garnett did not want to leave Minnesota. They were a losing team. He was happy there, though. He was loyal, to your point. And then he goes to Boston and realizes it was the greatest thing he ever did. So I'll give you that. But I'm not so much, Colin, about the players being loyal as I am about them being true to themselves and doing what makes them happy. Like, people criticize, I know my partner, Rob Parker, came on yesterday and criticized Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is happy in Kansas City.
Yeah.
I don't know how much it's loyalty as it is, man, I love my life. I'm happy here. I don't have to get every last dime. I'm content. I want to leave a little room for other players so we can have other great players to play with me. And so that's where I'm at. It's not about, let me be loyal to this owner or to this franchise. It's more about, I'm content where I'm at. Everybody's not going to have the LeBron or KD mentality where they have to leave. Some guys are just going to be happy.
Yeah.
They may be small-time guys or whatever it is.
Well, I mean, Damian Lillard played at Weber State. It was a small place in Portland. Maybe he likes kind of being the man at the place. I
was going to say, some guys, Colin, like being the man.
Yeah. I get it.
They like being the man. And another thing that's real, and this doesn't apply to Giannis, but Damian Lillard, I think he's going to be a Hall of Famer.
Oh, yeah.
I think, yeah, right? But nobody is, when Damian Lillard's done playing, if he doesn't win the championships, nobody's going to say it was a failure. Oh, my God, he didn't win one. He didn't do that. He's not at that level where LeBron and KD were, where it was like, you better win a championship.
Right.
If you do not win a championship, it's an utter failure. Most small guys aren't. And so that's a luxury. Giannis will be at that. He's at that level where if he doesn't win a championship. So what I think Giannis could do is take a page out of LeBron's book and say, I'll sign maybe a 3-year deal with Milwaukee. I'll give us 3 more years to try to win it. And then if we don't, then he might have to look elsewhere.
You know, your buddy Rob Parker, who's nuts but makes me laugh, came on yesterday. I thought he actually made a great point. This is kind of off. We could talk football here because you
right.
are a great football guy. You really are. Is that he said, you know what? If I'm Patrick Mahomes, I take every penny. You figure out the cap. That's not my problem. And I thought to myself, well, we do have a history that if you take less as a quarterback, it does make it easier because you get better defensive players. But Rob's point was Kansas City didn't win anything before I got here. You haven't shown an ability. I mean, Andy Reid didn't win a championship in Philadelphia. He would have with Mahomes. So it's funny about that. I drove home yesterday and I thought, it's an interesting way to think, which is I'm taking my money. You guys, you accountants figure out the cap. That ain't my issue. Your thoughts
you
on
were
that?
So shocked that Rob Parker made a legitimate point is what it was. I know. But no, look, here's the deal. Rob likes to talk about the NFL like there's no salary cap. Because we know his sport that he loves is baseball, where there is no cap. Football, there's a cap. So it does matter. And my thing is, if Patrick Mahomes wanted every last dime, more power to him, so be it. But I would rather be, let's say Tom Brady. He's the perfect example. Didn't take every last dollar. He's made more money than any quarterback not named Drew Brees, or he will make more. And then, of course, Patrick Mahomes now with that contract. But would you rather be Tom Brady, have 6 championships, have made about $250 to $280 million in your career, and have 6 championships and be viewed as the GOAT? Or would you rather have made $320 million and have 1 championship and nobody has you in the GOAT conversation? There's nothing Patrick Mahomes will be able to do with $550 million that he can't do with $500 million.
Yeah.
So I think he took the right route. I think this speaks to a guy that's content, that's found peace, that is happy with where he's at, and is not driven by making every last penny that I can make. He's still got generational wealth. His children's children will still be fine. And he's got a better chance to win multiple Super Bowls and go down as the best player in the NFL history. So I think that's where Rob and I totally disagree. He's always like, and here's another point, Colin. The greatest winners of our generation have had the Pat Mahomes mindset. I mentioned Tom Brady already. Tim Duncan. He left money on the table so they could keep Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili. Now he's got 5 championships. LeBron James, when he first went to Miami, was willing to take a little bit less to join the big 3. He didn't have to because it ended up being a sign and trade, but he was willing. And then Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was never the highest paid player in the league until his last 2 years in Chicago with those balloon payments. And Jordan was like, look, I signed the contract. I'll play it out and try to win championships. So the best winners we've seen have not been motivated by making every last dime. They want money, and I respect that. We all need money. But if that's you have to make every last penny, I don't think that's a healthy mentality.
Yeah. Well, Rob Parker makes us think. That's why your radio show with him is so great. It's called The Odd Couple. It's on Fox Sports Radio. It's fantastic. Buddy, great having you on, and have a nice weekend.
All right, you too, Colin.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.